Welcome, folks, into this week's edition of the Knox Pages Game of the Week. My name is Grant Pepper. I'm a reporter at KnoxPages.com. As you can see, the backdrop's a little bit different this week as we're going to be featuring two games, two matchups, two rivalries right here in Knox County. It's Week 10. That means one thing for Knox County's four village schools, Rivalry Week. It's Danville versus East Knox in the Devil Dog game, and it's Fredericktown Centerburg in a game that's only grown in intensity over the last 10 years. So this week's edition of the Knox Pages Game of the Week is a special edition. Yes, we're going to feature this week's matchups, and we'll talk briefly about those, but we'll also go a little deeper than that. I wanted to find out what makes each rivalry special, and to do that, I spoke with four guys who have lived it and breathed it as former coaches and players from each of the four county schools. We talked about their memories of classic battles, as well as why these games matter to them. In the end, they gave some advice to the guys who will be suiting up on Friday night, some of them for the last time in their respective uniforms. That's all up next on this special edition of the Knox Pages Game of the Week. Buckle up, Knox County. It's Rivalry Week.
You're watching the Knox Pages.
You are watching the Knox Pages.
You're watching the Knox Pages Game of the Week.
Let's begin out in Howard, where 4 and 5 Danville make the 5-mile trek down to East Knox to play a 7-2 Bulldog team on Friday night. For Danville, a win and some help from those ahead of them on Friday in Division 7 Region 27 could propel them into the playoffs, an incredible opportunity after beginning the season 0-5. Meanwhile, for East Knox, who was eliminated from playoff contention in last week's loss to Highland, Friday night is one final opportunity to suit up, and also an opportunity to beat Danville for the first time since 2005. This week I got to talk to two men who played in the rivalry back in the day, and who now both work on the sideline crew for their respective schools. I talked to Chuck Mellick of East Knox and Dave Hawk of Danville. Chuck Mellick graduated from East Knox in 1973 and played during the beginning of the Chet Looney era, the legendary coach that the Bulldog Stadium is now named after. He's worked in the East Knox community ever since he graduated, and now he coaches baseball at the high school. He told me he has only missed one Devil Dog game since his high school days. Meanwhile, Dave Hawk graduated from Danville in 1989 and suffered 4 losses to East Knox at the height of Looney's dominance. Hawk has also remained heavily involved in the Danville community since his graduation. Here's what Mellick and Hawk had to say about the Devil Dog rivalry.
I've been on the sidelines since 1970, just about every game, except one, which I told you I scheduled a fishing trip, which I don't know what I was thinking that night. But I've seen them all. It's just been great for the communities. There's good people on both sides of the ball here. I mean, there's relatives, there's kids, cousins, uncles. It's been, quite a ride here at East Knox Danville game.
I do the chains here. We're the chain crew, me and all my brothers. We've done the chains here for probably 10, 12 years and supported real heavy here. And we actually go to the East Knox's boosters thing and support them too, because we have so many friends over there. Then we support their 201 club, and we went to their outings and support them also, but not this week. Every week till this point we do support each other, so it's kind of fun.
Well, we started, Chet Looney came here in 71, the fall of 71, and I was a junior at that time. And the first year here, he's being from Danville, of course. He comes over, and he just graduated Ohio Northern, and he started with us here. The first year we went 0-10. The second year, his first win, and him being from Danville, came, and we beat Danville right here on this field, 12-6. In pouring rain. It had rained for like 3 days that week, and it was wet. But we got Coach's first win against Danville. How ironic is that? I've told people before, you come to this game, you're going to see things you haven't ever seen before. For instance, one game we was playing at Danville, and they had some excited people in the end zone up on scaffolding, and one of the guys fell over the fence onto the field in the end zone and broke his leg. We had to stop the game, get the squad there, take him out. I've seen fans chase referees off the field before after the game, so seen it all. It's just a great rivalry. I always used to tell people, you've heard of Ohio State, Michigan. Well, this is a little bit bigger, and it'll be a good game. It'll come down to the last quarter probably, and somebody will win it. Somebody's going to lose it. Two things will be for sure: the Howard-Danville Road will get painted, and the sun will come up the next day in the communities. It'll be a little brighter in one than the other. But records, you throw them out in this kind of a game. It's just it's just that kind of game. One team can be 2-8 and the other 8-2, and you don't know who's going to win.
Oh, it's just a huge game. A lot of friends. Half of them are related. I don't know today like it was, but when I played, half of us were related to each other, and we were all friends. We'd run around for 9 weeks, but week 10, we didn't talk, and it was exciting. It's fun to play against each other, and still friends with a lot of those guys.
I mean, the kids know each other. I mean, they raised their parents, went to school, played against each other. I mean, there's some 3 decades of kids probably through here now. In junior high, that's the one game you don't want to lose. And even in Colt football now, I mean, they have Colt football. They know that week that who you're playing. I mean, it's both sides. I mean, they know that because their whole families have been in it. Getting back to all the kids that's played here, every player that's played at East Knox, which goes back several years, I guarantee you on Saturday morning they will know the score of that game, if not Friday night. They will know. They will know that, and it's just two good communities, 2 small schools having the time of their life. Kids don't even realize that it's the best time of their lives. I mean, you can be 65, 70 years old, and you know the score of your Danville score when you played at East Knox or Danville. You know the score of that Devil Dog game.
Yep, over the years you just get to playing each other, and just it builds and builds and builds until you get to high school, and that's like the grand finale. You finally figure out through the years, and then other kids get involved, and it becomes a bigger rival, and just it's a pretty exciting week for them, for the kids. They'll remember it forever. They really will.
Just embrace that whole week, because you'll never ever get to do it again. You might play them in softball or church ball, but it'll never be like going out on the football field. I mean, it's just, they don't realize it. I didn't, but it's gone in a short period of time. Athletics is such a big part of people's lives. I mean, it gets you ready for the next step of your big life. But just embrace it, have fun, enjoy the week. There's going to be a lot of distractions and a lot of talk. But just enjoy it, and just coaches aren't going to ask you to do anything you haven't done all year. Just be yourself, relax, and play ball.
Oh, give it all. Don't leave anything left, because you don't want to walk away saying, boy, if I'd have done this, if I'd have done that. And don't take plays off, because this could be your last one. So this is what it all boils down to, this last game of your last senior year, and you want to give 100%. Don't wish you did. Do it. So
Danville currently holds the all-time series lead over East Knox, 39-18, as the Blue Devils have won the last 12 matchups in the Devil Dog game. The last East Knox team to beat Danville was led by none other than current Bulldog head coach Cody Reese when he was a senior linebacker and tight end at East Knox High School. Last year, Danville beat East Knox 21-14, and sure to be just as close this year at Shetloney Stadium. Kickoff will be at 7 p.m. on Friday night between the Bulldogs and the Blue Devils. Meanwhile, out in Centerburg, the Trojans and Freddies will go head-to-head on Friday night in what has become a back-and-forth rivalry affair over the years. Over the last 10 games between these two teams, Fredericktown has won 6 of them. But over the last 5 years, when the teams have played 6 times, as they met additionally in the playoffs in 2014, It's gone back and forth each time. Centerburg will win once and Fredericktown will win the next, and that's how it's gone. To add to that, all games in the last 5 years, minus last year's game, have been decided by a touchdown or less. 2 of those games went into overtime. This year, Centerburg comes in at 4-5, while Fredericktown approaches Friday night's game with a record of 1-8. Both teams have pride on the line on Friday night, and this week I got to talk to a Trojan and a Freddy who know exactly what this rivalry means. I spoke with Jim STOYLE, who graduated from Centerburg in 1986 and coached there from 2010 to 2015, leading the Trojans to 2 playoff appearances and 2 10-win seasons, although he went just 3-4 against Fredericktown. I also spoke with MERRIT ZOLLARS, a 2008 Fredericktown grad who played quarterback for the Freddies and led them to 2 playoff appearances in his last 2 years of high school, although his Freddies split with Centerburg over his 4 years. Both men led their respective schools through their most recent glory days, although it was never easy to win this rivalry game. Here's what STOYLE and ZOLLARS had to say about the Centerburg-Fredericktown rivalry, going back to old memories and talking about what it means to them.
I can go back as a kid and remember going and watch Centerburg and Fredericktown play. Fredericktown had a kid, I think his last name was Smith, that went on and played at Army, I believe is where he played at West Point. There was a couple other kids on that team that were just phenomenal, and I can remember going back and seeing really good players play from Fredericktown. I remember maybe not remember their names, but I can see them in uniform. I can see what they look like. I can remember games or players at Centerburg, and again, just that closeness. I mean, we get on the bus, and you got 20 minutes to get your mind right, you know. So I just think the tradition of Knox County. Yeah, we play teams outside of Knox County, but inside the county, you want to win. Big fan of Bobby Bowden's when he was at Florida State, and they always talked about national championship. And he said, I'm more focused on winning the state championship. He wanted to beat Florida. He wanted to beat Miami. Well, you want to win the Knox County championship. You know, you want to beat East Knox. You want to beat Danville. You want to beat Fredericktown. And what you do outside of that, that sets it up for that.
They were always late in the season, and they're always important. I think that was what's exciting about them, is that you're playing guys from a school that's pretty local. It's obviously in the same county. Guys that you know from YMCA ball, from Little League and Babe Ruth. Guys that you played basketball and baseball and other sports against. But those games always mattered late in the season. Centerburg always had really good athletes. And even when they were down, they were gonna give you a good game. And my sophomore year was the year that they were really good. They were loaded that year, and I think we learned a lot from them as sophomores. At least my class did, watching a team just be successful. How a really good team plays.
Played them in the second round of the playoffs at Mount Vernon. Very big hyped game. I mean, we were playing our best football. They were playing really well. And I think we had the edge a little bit just simply because we lost game 1. I think I'm a big guy on the psychological part of the game, and I think we went in with a little bit of chip on our shoulder. Close game at halftime, and we made some adjustments at halftime and came out, and our defense just played lights out, and our offense did just enough. And it was a great high school football game. I mean, I've been coached high school football for 25 years, and that was one of the best ones I was ever involved in. And I remember walking across and talking to Coach Baum afterwards, and just a mutual respect thing. And I think that's one of the things that rivalries, you throw out the records, you throw out a lot of the things. There's a lot of underlining stories, backstories, and all of them. But that was just a really good high school football game. I think it's kind of the small town USA. It's a small county. You got 4 county schools, and you got Mount Vernon obviously sits in the middle. And everybody knows everybody. The names on the back of the jersey at Fredericktown pretty much stay the same. It's sons of sons of sons who played. And you see the same thing at East Knox and Danville, same thing at Centerburg. And so I think that just kind of bruised the whole thing over the years. And then, you have some heated battles in there. But I think at the end of the day, our kids and their kids are very similar. The towns are very similar. And that's what makes rivalries fun. What makes rivalries not fun is when a team dominates another one. You know, you look at the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. Ohio State's won how many? 13 out of 14 or whatever. Is it still a rivalry? You know, it's got to be back and forth. And when you look at the Fredericktown-Centerburg rivalry over the last 10 years, I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's 5-5, 6-4, whatever it is, but it's pretty close. And that's what makes it exciting. You know, there's games that coaches, when you get your schedule and you look at it, you kind of make circles around an invisible pin. That's a big one. We're going to prepare for that one big time, you know. So I think that's what makes it exciting.
It's competitive. It's competitive. Growing up, it seems like we always have family at one of those schools. So you know these players from an early age. You know about their families. But it's good. It's exciting. A lot of these people I would consider not necessarily friends, but people you know to get along with outside of the game. But it was a rivalry. It was always fun to play those schools. Fortunately, we were all four of those schools when we played. Were in our league, so that was always meaningful. That a lot of times at the end of the year, the schools that you would beat within the county were going to be neck and neck with you at the end. I would say that it does matter. That the last game, though, regardless of your record, regardless of your experience in the program, up and down, this game does matter. It can matter for you personally, but it matters for all your teammates. And it's something that hopefully you'll have in your memory for a long time, and because it goes by quick, and they all know this by now. But it's one last chance to put on that uniform with your buddies and play, and it's memorable. So just leave it out there. Leave it all out there.
From 7 o'clock to last second on the clock. Respect the heck out of them, but you don't have to like them for that time. And just play your hearts out. You know, 1, it's the 10th game. 2, it's your last game you're going to play in a Centerburg football uniform. 3, you're playing against your rival. That's the game you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So go out and leave everything you got. It's so cliche, leave everything you got on the field. You got to walk off exhausted, exerting everything you have. Fredericktown, I know, is not having the season that their expectations are at. Fredericktown or Centerburg, probably not the same thing. But you throw out the records. It's 0-0. No wins, no losses. It's one game, one night. Do whatever you can to win a football game.
Fredericktown and Centerburg will go head-to-head on Friday night at 7 p.m. at Centerburg High School, as both schools will try to finish off their season strong against their rival. That's going to do it for this week's special rivalry edition of the Knox Pages Game of the Week. Thank you for watching. As always, make sure to follow our sports coverage on our website, knoxpages.com, and make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Knox Pages for live game updates, game recaps, features, and more all year round. That's at Knox Pages on Facebook and Twitter. Again, I'm Grant Pepper, a reporter at knoxpages.com. Thank you for watching this week's special edition of the Knox Pages Game of the Week. Make sure to enjoy this week, Rivalry Week in Knox County High School football, and the final week of the 2018 regular season.